Hi everyone, I'm Siech. Welcome to Velvet. In this video I'm gonna show you how I use parallel hypercompression to create interesting rhythms and textures for use in techno productions. By using parallel hypercompression you can just, in a matter of seconds, go from this to this. And you can also use it to do a lot of creative reshaping of your original sounds. In this video I'm gonna tell you all about it. Hypercompression is a technique that's been used in techno for a long time, especially here in Sweden. And you can use it to recreate the late 90s techno sound that was made famous by producers like Joel Mull, Cari Lekebusch, Jesper, Dahlbäck, Krome, and of course Beyer. And hypercompression is really all about smashing your tracks to pieces using very, very dirty and aggressive compressors or compressors in series. And by using multiple compressors in series, you can really bring out the grit and the artifacts that exists in between the sounds. And by doing this, you can get rhythms that wasn't there to begin with. And you need an insane amount of compression and makeup gain to create this effect. So don't expect a compressor like this to behave nicely, but that's also kind of the point. So, the first thing I'm gonna do is mix in a hypercompressed return signal, also known as parallel compression, to transform my unfinished beat here to something a little bit more fun. This is an early version of a remix I'm working on, and I'm gonna show you the channels here. You have a kick drum on channel 1, just a 909 drum with some room. I have a bass line from my DX100. I have a synth line also from my DX100. I have some hat samples. I have a shaker synth. I have some drums from battery. And I have 2 effect returns recorded from my Eventide harmonizer. And I have a little bit of send going on here to return channel A, where I have the compressed effect return. I'm gonna turn it on so you can hear what it does. As you can hear, it really fills the space between the sounds with sonic information. It really brings the sustain of all the sounds up. I'm gonna solo just the compressor so you can hear what it sounds like. And there it's off, and it's on again. And this compressor that I use here, I created myself using only Ableton Live stock plugins. It's a simple serial compressor chain that I call the HyperCompressor, which you can download for free from our Euromix website. I wrote a small manual on how to use it in the info text just to the left if you just hover with the mouse over the title here. Yeah, so if you feel like massacring your own audio, just go ahead and download it from our Euromix website. In the second example, I'm going to use hypercompression to construct a completely new texture and groove from the material that I already have by letting the sounds play and interact with each other in a very aggressive manner in the compressor. So what I normally do is I turn all my send channels off. I solo the compressor, which is set to a very aggressive setting as usual, 40 to 50 decibels of compression and makeup gain. That is handled by multiple compressors in series. And what I do is I start playing my tracks, and then I carefully start pouring some of the sounds into the compressor with the sends. I'm gonna start with a kick here. And as you can hear, it really fills out the space really nicely, and it completely reshapes the kick. I'm going to show you how it sounds like without the compressor on. This is the kick without the compressor. And here we have the kick going into the compressor. And then I can start pouring some more channels. I don't have to use all of them. I can just use, let's say I only use the hi-hats a little bit here. Let's take this battery maybe a little bit. Add a little bit of the effect return. Maybe like this, and a little bit of ampex here as well. And as you hear, completely new rhythms appear from your original material by just letting the compressor play with the sounds. And you now have a completely new track going, made just with the interaction of the sounds in the compressor. This is a very effective way to fill up the space in a track using just a few tracks. And also a really good way to get more interesting rhythms going than the one you had from the beginning. Personally, I almost never use more than 16 tracks in my music, so this is a very, very useful trick for me to make a track sound complete. And you can, of course, do a lot of experimentation here with attack and release and ratio of the compressor to get the right groove going. This method has some similarity to mixing very hot levels into a master limiter, but this method has a few advantages. The first advantage is that you can, of course, choose to get more creative with your sounds, because you can choose exactly which sounds are going into the smasher. The second advantage is that you can have your master bus empty. You don't have to, now mine isn't empty, but there isn't a limiter on it anyway. And that's the important thing, that when you send to mastering, that you should leave the master bus without a limiter. And if you have a limiter on when you start mix, which I know a lot of you have, then it's really hard when you turn the limiter off to send it to mastering to get the right groove. But by using this method, you can really get that aggressive limited sound without using a master bus limiter. In my third example, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. Now I've created a empty return track next to the compressed return track. And the reason I did this is because sometimes you want to create a new texture from the sound that you already have that doesn't include the kick drum. Because the kick drum makes, in this compressor, makes everything pump like crazy. So what you can do now, I'm going to show you, is you do like you did before, but instead of sending the kick drum to the compressor, you start with the other tracks. So you take a little bit of the bass line, for example. Like the compressor is really smashing this one as well. And then you take the hats. And then maybe some shaker. I like that. Some of the drums here. And then I really like to take the recorded effect returns, because they bring a lot of ambience when they are compressed. All right, so what happens now if I take the kick into the compressor? It kind of ruins the texture and the groove that I had. So I can just send it to the parallel channel here. Then I can just experiment with the levels here. To get the groove that I'm after. And then of course you can change the parameters of the compressor to make it more or less aggressive. and the kick is always left out of the compression by going to a separate channel here. The bottom line here is that you can create some really interesting new textures and grooves from your old sounds when they interact in a compressor that's compressing them to pieces. And it's a really great and fun way to get creative with your sounds. It takes a little bit of experimentation to get it right, but it's a lot of fun, and you will discover a lot of new material and also maybe whole new tracks inside of your old sounds while doing it and trying it out. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget that you can download the compressor from our website and compress the living shit out of every audio track you can find and honor the Swedish legacy. And if you like the video and you have any ideas of what we should cover in the future, please let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.